and only DNVR. Two goes out to Zach, Mace, RK, and the bar. Three for Mr. B in that old trophy case. Nothing supposed to wait for, well, bring on the chase. Out on the field at Mile High, Broncos win is our desire. Coupled with Breck, Brew, and a friend, bleed orange and blue to the bitter end. Come and join us, DNVR. We are DNVR.
Woo! Welcome into the DNVR Broncos podcast on this fabulous Friday, guys. Game day Friday. I'm so pumped for this pod. I'm your host, Zac Stevens, joined by my man, Ryan Koenigsberg, and Andrew Mason. And before we hop into what's going to be an awesome show, a show that I've been so pumped for all week, got to tell you about our presenting sponsor, MSU Denver Online. Because over at MSU Denver Online, they are the new urban online university with learning outcomes equivalent to face-to-face courses, which is unheard of anywhere else, but MSU delivers. They have great gen eds taught by real people, great completion options, full programs, and the virtual services to keep you healthy and happy on your way to graduation. Whether you're online or on campus, it's all the same to them. Their students do just as well and get the same degree, so make sure to check them out over at MSU Denver Online. My boys, what is up? Football is underway.
Man, what a time to be alive. Football returns last night. We get a great game. We get something we've never seen before, a late game Tom Brady comeback. Always great to see something new and fresh. And, we won some bets. Everyone won their bet on the Bucs to keep it within 74 points. And I cannot believe that we're doing like a pregame podcast right now. It honestly feels surreal to me. Obviously, we've had quite the week out here in Arizona, and it just went by so fast that I can't comprehend that this is a Friday before the Broncos play on Sunday. It does not feel real.
It doesn't.
It's funny. It feels real to me. I don't know why. I don't know why. Maybe it's the fact that we had preseason this year. Last year, it felt everything going on didn't feel right, but the fact that we had some preseason, I felt like it's obviously not quite like it's been, but we get sort of the more normal buildup. I mean, it does feel real, but it's like, okay, let's get to this. It's like a Christmas gift that we're about to unwrap, but we don't know if it's going to be the toy that we want or if it's going to be just tube socks. And I'm sick of looking at that package and dreading that it might be tube socks. I want to know if I'm getting a really cool gift here.
Oh, boy. Well, let's just hop right into our schedule prediction, our final season predictions, and start with that first game because, Mace, like I teased yesterday at the end of the show, I feel great about this Denver Broncos New York Giants game. I think that everything points to the Denver Broncos beating the Giants. Except, guys, there's one thing that I can't get past here, and that's just everything, all the emotions with 9/11. That's the one thing that's just making me pause a little bit because the Broncos are playing in New York. They're playing the Giants. Do you think that's going to be a big deal here? Because when you get outside emotions, sometimes that totally messes with a game, and that's just the only thing that I can't get over right now.
It's an interesting thought. I don't know. I think everyone will have emotions running high. Of course, 20 years. It's kind of crazy to think that it's been that long. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that'll affect it. I think from a football standpoint, you've got a team that is not as talented as you are. And I think that as long as the coaches do their jobs, the Broncos should win this game. I just wish I was more confident in the coaches to do their jobs. So that's the thing that's giving me pause. I do believe they're going to win the game, but if you were to tell me they lost, if you come to the future and tell me they lost, I would say that's because they went in there with a bad game plan.
So you say Pat Shurmur drops the ball in his return to New York?
I think that's a possibility, yes. I also remember what happened last year in Week 1 where The coach got out of his element and things started moving quickly, and he wasn't prepared to react. And that was, of course, Vic Fangio with the timeout. So I just say, like, I think that's the path to losing, is a game plan that doesn't make sense. Maybe they get a little too aggressive on defense. Maybe they get a little too conservative on defense. And I think I can't imagine them getting too aggressive on offense. So maybe they're a little too aggressive, too conservative on offense, and a couple big plays, a couple turnovers, fluky, a return play, something like that costs you the game. But in all reality, you're the better football team. You should win this game.
You see, it's funny you talk about week 1 last year, because I not only remember Vic Fangio dropping the game management ball, I remember players literally dropping the ball. I remember Jerry Jeudy with a key drop. I remember Melvin Gordon with a key lost fumble. So they lose. It could be on the coaches. It could also be on the players and execution. That being said, I think that part of it should be better than it was last year. And I don't think the coaches are going to drop the ball in this game. I think it's a win, and I think it's a very comfortable win for the Broncos.
Yeah, and guys, I'm not worried about the coaches this game. I'm not worried about the players. I'm not worried about execution. Like I said, I'm just worried about that outside element, and if that doesn't play too big of a role, the Broncos are winning this game. Now, in terms of a score prediction for me, it's not going to be a blowout, but the Broncos are going to be in command of this game from start to finish on both sides of the ball. And I'll just give my score prediction. I'm going to go Broncos 23, Giants 16.
That's close to where
I had 23-13 nearly 2 weeks ago. I'm sticking with that.
And that's even closer to what I was thinking. I was going to say 24-13. But man, I don't know. I feel a little uneasy about that.
Don't do it. Don't. Why?
I don't know. I first of all, I think that I'm interested to see where we land on this schedule prediction, because I don't think I'm gonna feel comfortable with the number of wins we come up with.
We're gonna come up with too many.
Well, yeah, because I remember what I've been saying all offseason. I'm in show me mode. I'm not giving this team the benefit of the doubt. I'm just not doing it. It's like fool me once, shame on me, or shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times, big shame on me. Fool me 4 times, now I look like an idiot. Fool me 5 times. What am I even doing here?
Well, you're not here, Ryan. That's why we've shipped you off to PHNX.
Fool me 6 times, I quit. So I will not be fooled again. But
he won't be fooled again.
Nice, that was good. One of your best. Yeah. So that's where I'm at. But I do think this one should be a win. Will be a win. My question to you guys is 24-13. That's my score prediction. We're all in that same world. Are our fans going to be appeased with that score?
Yes, and surprisingly enough, Ryan, we've had so many people comment on the pod in the last week and say, I'm looking forward to a boring Broncos win. And I'm just shocked that people are okay with boring, but it's because it's followed by a win. And people, I don't think, are going to be over the moon, because especially 23 points isn't going to get everyone to buy into Teddy Bridgewater. And I think that's what fans really need in order to be ecstatic about this team, is buying at the quarterback position. But it'll buy him another week of fans saying, okay, show me again. And so it's going to continue to be show me mode after this, but fans will be satisfied because of that dub.
And how it happens matters. How you get to 20. Let's say it's 23-13, like I said. Is it 23-13 and the Giants get to 13 with a late touchdown and you're winning by 17 points before that touchdown? I mean, that at that point, I'd say you're feeling great about 23-13 or 24-13 if it's the Giants scoring late in the end. If you're getting to 24-13 or 23-13, say you had a defensive touchdown late when the Giants were trying to rally, maybe you don't feel so hot about the game. I mean, it's we can talk about the score, but it's, we're going to know it when we see it. We're going to know whether it's something to feel good about or not, and it's going to be pretty obvious.
Yeah, this a little bit reminds me of like the Buffs opening up with CSU. It's just like if you win, everyone's like, okay, good job, you should have won. And if you lose, it's like meltdown mode,
The world is burning on fire.
Yeah.
And
you just lost to one of your peers if you lose this game.
Right, and I just think there's the if somehow they lose, the Teddy Bridgewater reaction is going to be unbearable.
It's going to be really, really bad. And then, guys, that also would make it very concerning for what's to come. We've talked about how they have to have a winning record in September. Well, we have them all winning this game. So then what happens in week 2 here, guys? Going on the road again to Jacksonville. Now you play, the New York Giants, guys, were 6-10 last year. They look so much better than the 1-15 Jags and the 2-14 Jets from a year ago, although we know both of those teams have new quarterbacks. But what happens in week 2 going up against Trev?
To me, I'm actually more confident in this one. I think that this one should be a more comfortable win, only because I just think that coaching staff is a little bit of a mess. Trevor Lawrence, while of course incredibly talented, is not a finished NFL product quite yet. He didn't look very comfortable in the preseason. I think there's a lot more things going in your favor. You're going to have some tape on them, what they like to do. And so I think that game is where you really are going to see the defense take over. And I think that one is going to be a cruising victory.
Yeah, I think the defense takes over. And this is one where I will be disappointed if the offense doesn't put up at least 27 points, preferably over 30 points, because Jacksonville closed last year allowing at least 27 points in its last 15 games. Of course, all of them that they lost. Their D still doesn't look like it has its act together. This is one where between what I expect against the Jaguars defense and what I expect Vic Fangio and that defense schematically do with a week of film of regular season film of Trevor Lawrence that they'll get from week 1 here. This is where I'll be disappointed if it is not a comfortable win in North Florida.
Yeah, guys, this should be a win, but Vic Fangio's still looking for his first win in September. I'm not going to say that, he just starts piling up wins in September. I think this is a fluke game that the Broncos drop and pandemonium starts breaking out in Denver. But don't worry too much because they come home to the Jets, and I think this is the game where the team just turns it around and makes Zach Wilson look like a bust in his third game, although he's not a bust. But they make him look so bad, and the offense really starts clicking. I think they're 2-1 after September. Fans are a little bit feeling just a little bit better.
I feel like we can't just skip over the fact that you think they're going to lose to the Jags.
Well, there's a reason for it, and I wouldn't be surprised, guys, if our records are the same after week 5 here. There's no confidence in what this team looks like early on, guys, and I like them this weekend. I just think they're going to drop one of these 3 games, and I don't think it's going to be this week. I don't think it's going to be against the Jets at home, so that just leaves me with the Jags. Like I said, they should win that game. Maybe even a week from now, I'm picking them to win that game because I think everything points to that, but this is not a team that knows how to win yet, and it's a team that only has, 2 guys on the team that really know how to win? I mean, Melvin Gordon said, yeah, some of the guys on this team from other teams know how to win, but not many. I mean, Melvin Gordon has won a little bit, but he hasn't won at a big stage yet. So I'm so much in Ryan's wait and see mode right now that I like them to have a winning record after 3 games, but not just cruise into every victory.
How many guys on the Jets win in the NFL though? That's I mean, you can say the same thing about them too.
0.
Yeah,
So,
you certainly can. They do have
Yeah.
they have the better quarterback, I think already, and so that's why I'm giving the nod to them. And Trevor Lawrence, he's going to struggle his rookie year. He's also going to have flashes. It should not come against the Denver Broncos defense, but I'm saying it will.
Yeah, I think if there's a loss in these first three, strangely enough, I think it comes at home, even though I don't expect them to lose at home, because I think the Jets may end up being the best team out of this trio. Certainly, they appear to be the most well-organized team of the first three on the schedule here, even though they're going with rookie quarterback and Zach Wilson. And Wilson has looked, admittedly, he's looked very good so far.
Well,
But this looks like a team that I think can maybe, I'm not saying a playoff team, the Jets, but can surprise some people, but not the Broncos in week 3.
is that your prediction, or is that just saying if they lose one, that's the one?
I think if they lose one, that's the one.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm feeling more optimistic than I thought. It could be because I hit my head really hard yesterday. That's a real story. I really don't see them losing to the Giants. I don't see them losing to the Jags, and I don't see them losing to the Jets. This is like the NFL literally put these 3 teams in a giant gift box, put a beautiful bow on it, and sent it to Vic Fangio's door and said, like, here you go, keep your job. It's crazy to me. I mean, you could have mixed this schedule up. You could have had them open against the Chiefs, and then go on the road to Pittsburgh, and then go against Baltimore, and all of a sudden we would have been saying, like, I don't know if Vic Fangio makes it through the month. They did him an incredible favor. I think he's prepared to take advantage of it. You're getting 2 rookie quarterbacks in the first 3 weeks, a terrible veteran quarterback in week 1. So they can't not win these 3 games. I'm with you, Zach. I don't feel confident in saying that they're going to, but man, they should. They really, really should. I guess we're all different on this. If I had to pick one of the 3 that they were going to lose, it would be this week.
And that's fair. I just view the Jets as the worst team of these 3, kind of the opposite of May. So you guys got them 3-0. Incredible. I got them 2-1. People will still be skeptical 2-1, but hey, a winning record, people won't be upset about that. And then comes those hard games that you talked about, Ryan. Yeah, and you kind of gave the well, I don't know about that, and I think you're right. But after this game, in my opinion, is when people are going to be like, okay, here we go. Because I think the Denver Broncos pull off the upset at home to the Baltimore Ravens, and people are going, okay, you dropped one to the Jags, but boy, beating the Ravens is huge. And guys, the Ravens, a week ago, I did not have this as a win, but everything is trending in the wrong direction for the Ravens. It stinks how many injuries they have for them, but that's just only good news for the Broncos. They get them at home, and I think the Broncos do enough to contain Lamar Jackson and get the win, the first real big win in many years.
First of all, I love the fact that Mace hates misinformation so much that while we've been talking here, he's been researching the Broncos' record in Florida over the last 8 games because someone in the comments said the Broncos never play well in Florida. And they were wrong. 5-3 in their last 8 games in Florida.
How about that?
Yeah, and 3 of their last 4 as well.
3 of their last 4, and one of those was like a Paxton Lynch win.
One was
came off the bench and won.
2 of them actually involved Paxton Lynch, because one he started and one he came off the bench, and the other involved Tim Tebow. And then the loss. Sorry, Zach. Trevor.
That's why this loss will come against Trevor Mace.
There you go. For me, this one's a loss. I think that there's one potential weakness to this Broncos defense, and I think that's the run defense. Well, I don't think it's going to be bad by any means. I just think that there are certain teams, a certain style of play that is going to be able to move the ball comfortably, and that is a team that can run the ball really well, and that's what the Ravens do. Now, they've got an injury, of course, that just came down yesterday, so their rushing attack's taking a little bit of a hit. Now they're down J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. But in the same way that like you would have said this about the Broncos under Mike Shanahan, I don't know if it's as much about who's running the ball. It's a little bit more about the scheme and the way they run the ball. And I think that'll end up giving them a lot of problems in this game. And it's really the first team that they're going to face with a legitimate rushing attack that they're going to probably have to make some adjustments to the way that they do things on defense, similarly to the way they did it in Week 4 of Vic Fangio's first season. But this rushing slate that they're going to face early on is nothing like the one they did that year.
Yeah, I think the other thing that comes into play is I believe the Marcus Peters injury has been more impactful than the Gus Edwards injury yesterday, because I do think they'll find a way to run the football. But taking Peters out, I think, is going to create some open lanes for Broncos targets. So if it gets into a moderate to high scoring game, I like the Broncos' chance a bit better. What I still don't like here from the Broncos' perspective is this defense going up against Lamar Jackson when Lamar Jackson takes off and runs. And that's why I think this is a close game, in part because Marcus Peters is not going to be out there, but I think it's a narrow Broncos loss.
Okay, and there we go. Look, we're all tied up at 3-1 after 4 games, and I want to get to this 5th game before just taking a little bit of a pause and looking back. At Pittsburgh, guys, this is a game that the Broncos very well could have won last year, but I think Pittsburgh's going to have a worse record than they did last year, but actually be a better team, so I think this game is going to be more difficult than it was last year. Going into Pittsburgh's typically pretty tough, unless Mace wants to totally correct me and prove how the stats prove that wrong. But I think that's going to be a tough game. I think Ben Roethlisberger is going to be better than he was last year. So I'm going a close loss for the Broncos here. I got him at 3-2.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think part of it, yes, the Broncos played well last year, but you didn't have any fans in the stands. And I think that was one game where not necessarily the win-loss thing was different, but how it went was a lot different because you took fans away from that environment. You're going to have the fans back at Heinz Field. And I don't think Pittsburgh is going to be a great team. They closed poorly last year. I don't think they fixed everything that went wrong with them. But when you think of Pittsburgh struggling, you don't think of a team that's going like 3-14. When Pittsburgh struggles, it's that competitive kind of struggle. It's like for a 17-game schedule would be like 8-9 or 9-8, and that means they win their share of games, especially at home, like this one.
Yeah, this is going to be their first truly like raucous environment, I think, that they go into against like a real fan base in Pittsburgh. And I just think this is the one where the offense costs them one, and maybe through 5 weeks of the season, we're saying, okay, they beat 3 teams. For me, they beat 3 teams they were supposed to. They lost to 2 teams they weren't supposed to beat. Like, where are we here? The offense just scored 9 points. What are we going to do about this?
Yeah, it's a great point. And guys, I wanted to get to this 5 games because I thought we were going to be at 3-2, and that's eventually where I think the Broncos are going to be, whether they actually lose to Jacksonville or how that plays out, or beat Baltimore. I think they'll be at 3-2. So my question to you guys really quick is, if I could tell you they would be at 3-2, how would you want that to be? Would you want it to be beating the 3 bad teams, losing to losing to 2 of the good teams? Would you want it be losing to one of those games to a bad team, but then beating a good team? What's the ideal play here if it is 3-2?
Wow. I mean, I think beating a team, because it'll be more recent, will give everyone the better feelings. You'll have a loss to the Jags, like you mentioned, or something along those lines. That's going to send everyone into a frenzy of panic. But if you then come back and say, yeah, okay, well, they lost the Jags on the road, and they also happen to beat Baltimore at home, that'll make people feel better, and that will be coming off of a win against Baltimore, like right before that, and you're saying, okay, so they've lost a tough one on the road, they've won a tough one at home. That's kind of what you expect from a team that's gonna fight for playoff position towards the end of the season.
Yeah, and if they beat either Baltimore or Pittsburgh, even if they're 3-2 and lose one of the others, I think my thought is their ceiling will be higher because I'll be able to say, well, they went into Heinz Field and won, or they beat the Ravens, and either way, then you're saying, you know what? This team's going to be in every game and have chances everybody. So I feel good about what's to come.
Yep. I agree. All right, guys, let's do kind of a speed round through the rest of the schedule since it's a little further out. At home against the Raiders, how do you feel about this one?
It'll be a dub.
That's a dub.
I'm going dub as well. So the Broncos get off the schneid, get to 4-2, and then at Cleveland, guys, outside of the Chiefs, in my opinion, this is the most difficult game on the schedule. Thursday night game. I have to go loss here.
I think on Mike Clay's projections, he actually had this as the one that had the highest percentage of being a loss. I think even higher than the Chiefs games. Thursday night against a tough team and hostile environment, this is going to be, I think, too much to ask.
Yeah, no way.
No way. All right. And then at home against Washington. Oh, man. I like Washington this year. But at home, Ryan Fitzpatrick isn't going to look the best with this Denver crowd. I'll go a Broncos win.
This feels like your classic Broncos home win over the last 5 years to me, right? It's low scoring. The defense creates a big turnover. It comes down to a field goal at the very end. Brandon McManus hits it. They win.
Yeah. And maybe even a game that's similar to the one they had against Miami last year with Fitzpatrick, and they forced him into mistakes. And that ends up being the difference in this game. Maybe Justin Simmons gets another pick. Of course, Fitz came in late in that game, but they forced him to do a mistake when it mattered most. So give me the Broncos in this one.
Then on the road to Dallas, Broncos stay in the NFC East for a couple of weeks, actually 3 weeks in a row. I think here, guys, Dak looks really good, as we saw last night, so we get the benefit of knowing what he looks like. I'm going loss here. I think the Broncos end up splitting Washington and Dallas 1-1. Just right now, I'll say that Dallas gets the better of them.
Yeah, I agree. I think these two are a split. Last night, I saw enough from Dallas to make me think, all right, this is going to be a split, but the wins are going to be at home. The loss is going to be on the road. Frankly, before last night, guys, I was thinking that Washington was the upset loss at home and Dallas was the win on the road, but it looks like they're going to be fine to win 10 or 11 games with Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I did not see Dak looking that good that fast.
No.
He's awesome, and this is probably one that people are flip-flopping a lot on today. I think just about everyone had that penciled in as a win before last night, or at least the optimistic side of Broncos Country that's talking about this team making the playoffs probably had that penciled in as a win going into last night and are probably changing their minds today. I will say, like, if there's a team that is built to stop that passing attack and they're going to go 5 wide with Michael Gallup and CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper, like, it's the Broncos. The Broncos are uniquely built to stop a team like that, which is so prolific through the air. If this was a home game, it's a win for me, but it's a road game.
Guys, who is Ezekiel Elliott? Non-existent. That is just crazy. All right, and then the final one. I think so. Tony Pollard, really the guy there. And then, guys, the final one before the bye at home against the Eagles. Outside of that first 3-game stretch, guys, this and Detroit at home, probably the 2 easiest games on the schedule. I got to go Broncos win here.
Yeah, no matter who the Eagles quarterback is, although there's a part of me that secretly hopes it would be Joe Flacco, right?
Oh, God. I don't hope that. How is he even the backup there?
With Gardner Minshew there now? I don't know.
Yeah, put him in the cannon.
He's on his way.
That cannon's filling up.
Yeah.
So are we all going win here?
That has to be a win. I think that's the easiest game on the schedule.
And very fair. I'm not going to argue with that. And so Broncos 6-4 entering the bye. There's good vibes in the Mile High City. But then coming home to the Los Angeles Chargers. Last time Justin Herbert and the Chargers were in Denver, boy, was there a awesome comeback with the last-second touchdown to beat them. Did the Broncos get a dub just like they did last year?
They get a dub in this one. I think they're going to split the Chargers series, but you're coming off a bye, you're rested. Think this is a maybe to be a little bit healthier than you would be before the bye. Take advantage of that on the defensive side, and of course, you got Vic Fangio, Brandon Staley, the student on the Chargers sideline, the teacher on the Broncos sideline. I'm going to give this one to the old teacher.
Yeah, this is going to end up probably being a swing game in the record. That maybe decides if you're a winning team or a losing team based on where we are currently on the record. And I know where I'm heading eventually. So this is a loss for me.
Very fair. And guys, we're going to with the Chargers, since they're at home, since they're coming off bye, I'm going to give this a win for the Broncos. So Ryan, Mason, I have them at 7-4. You have them at 6-5, which is very fair. And then I think we can breeze by this next one at Kansas City. A loss. I mean, guys, the Broncos haven't beat Kansas City since, I don't even know if Ryan and I were born yet the last time they won. So I'm going to go a loss here.
Yeah, that's a loss. That's a loss.
So Ryan's got them at 500. Let's see which way this trends against Detroit at home.
I think everyone's going to have a win.
It's kind of like the Eagles game. This had better be a win, no matter what.
Yeah, I'm gonna go win here. But Week 15 against Cincinnati, guys. I'm saying this is a swing game that Ryan called it. I think something fluky happens. Joe Burrow may end up looking really good at this point, kind of the end of his second year. So I'm going to go a surprising loss here.
Wow. I mean, if this happens, Zach, if you lose at home to Cincinnati in the middle of December, unless the Bengals have had the type of breakthrough year that I think is unlikely to occur for them in a very rugged division, it's going to be sky is falling time. I think this is going to be one where defensively you kind of grind it out, force Joe Burrow into a couple of passes he doesn't want to make, and it's a win over a young quarterback still finding his way.
Do you think that Jamar Chase can apply for an exemption that they paint some white lines on the balls?
Oh. Tough for him right now, isn't it?
That was the I'm calling that the Brendan Langley quote of the year.
For real. Not what you like to. Brendan Langley, a 3rd-round pick though. Jamar Chase, what, top 6 pick?
Yeah.
Yep.
That is rough.
Could have gone O-line to keep Joe Burrow upright. Instead, they got him his receiver from LSU, and he doesn't seem to be able to catch the ball. Doesn't have stripes on it. He went to the wrong league. He should have gone to Canada.
You know what, guys? I'm gonna change here before we move on. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go win here for the Broncos. Okay. Feeling good. But then the day after Christmas, Broncos in Las Vegas to play the Raiders. What do you got here?
I hope I don't get maced here, but I feel like the Broncos have played terrible around the holidays these last few years. It seems like something bad always happens on New Year's Eve or Christmas Day or something along those lines. This is a loss for me.
How do you regard Boxing Day as a holiday?
I don't even know what that is.
Okay, it's the day after Christmas in Canada and Great Britain and the Commonwealth and all that. It's going to be a Boxing Day game, and you're going to a place that's had a lot of great boxing matches, of course, Las Vegas. But yeah, you know what? You think around the holidays, they didn't play well around Christmas last year, and they lost. They lost to the Chargers. You can go back a few more years. I know they lost a New Year's Eve game a few years back. They did beat the Raiders on New Year's Day to close the Gary Kubiak era. But are the Raiders playing for anything at this point? That's kind of the question I have right now? Are they still fighting for a playoff spot, or are they done by this point? I think they might actually be. I'm not saying they'll be like 3-12 or anything like that, but I think they might be out of the race at this point. And I think the Broncos, motivated, get the win.
So you've got the Broncos. They're one game over 500 for you at this point.
Oh, right now I've actually got them with 4 wins since the bye. And I had it at 6-4 before the bye. So now I've got them sitting at 10-5 and
wow.
frankly starting to make their mid-January plans for a road playoff game.
Kale, I think this one is going to be a loss on the schedule. Or did you have Zach? I guess, Zach, you're the tiebreaker.
Guys, I can't get past the Cincinnati game. I have to switch it back to a loss. I feel so uncomfortable about this Cincinnati game. So I'm going loss there. And then, but we can keep it as a win on there since you guys think it's a win. But I'm going loss against the Raiders as well, guys. The Raiders are just always tough against the Broncos. The Broncos are not, I don't view them as a 10-5 team right now going into this point. So I don't view them as a team that just sweeps divisional opponents. So I'm going loss. They win at home against the Raiders. They lose on the road.
Okay.
All right.
So I have them at, what is that, 8-7, I believe, going into the final 2 games of the season, guys, at home or on the road against the Chargers. What do you have?
L for love.
Yeah, loss.
Yeah, loss as well. So, Ryan, you actually have the Broncos getting swept by the Chargers then.
That is correct.
Wow, I don't think Justin Herbert is going to take that sophomore next step here, having him lose both.
Yeah, well, they have a quarterback.
It's true. They do have a quarterback here. And so I'm going loss as well here. And then, guys, final game at home with the Chiefs. I have them at 8-8 right now. This could be a big game. I think you're going to need to get double-digit wins in order to make it into the playoffs, though. I don't think the Chiefs are playing anyone, so I think the Broncos get the dub here.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mace.
Okay, I was just going to say, this all depends on what Zach said about are the Chiefs playing anybody. I'm going to say they're playing for the number 1 seed, unfortunately, for the Broncos, which means I'm putting this in the L category.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. It really comes down to, are they playing for something? I think they are. Like you said, fighting for seeding here in the last game of the season, and that ends up being an L for the Broncos.
Yep. Very, very fair there, guys. And so, look, I mean, the Broncos, so Mace, you have them definitely making the playoffs then, right?
I have them as the number 7 seed with a 10-7 record.
Actually, you know what? Let's put together our standings and see if the Broncos make the playoffs. But first, guys, I got to tell you about our friends over at Manscaped. And guys, autumn's in the air. My fiance, went to Trader Joe's yesterday, got all things pumpkin. And that is why Manscaped is celebrating the fall season, because you don't need a summer bod anymore, but you don't want the pumpkin belly just causing you to not be able to see what's down there. And our friends over at Manscaped can help you make sure that is not the case with the Lawnmower 4.0, the best shaver out there. It is going to come with that light. So if you do have a pumpkin belly and can't see what's below, well, you got the light to illuminate everything. It's waterproof, so you can shave in the shower. It has the longest battery life out there. And guys, might as well get the Performance Package 4.0, which comes with the Lawnmower 4.0, which comes with the Crop Preserver, the Crop Reviver, and of course, everything that Manscaped has is the best in their industry. So use that code DNVR over at manscaped.com to get 20% off and free shipping. Smash that code DNVR.
What else we got?
I thought I sorry, Orion. I thought you were getting the second read here. My bad.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Yeah,
I'm out of my groove.
Yeah. Well, want to tell you, of course, about our friends over at Breckenridge Brewery, and you know what? You can get those regular seltzers, those good company hard seltzers. They're at the DNVR bar right now. You can, of course, get them at your local grocery store, but come on down to the bar and get them. Come on down to the DNVR bar and get some of those delicious Breckenridge brews. Got the full array of Breck brews on tap. And, of course, if you're going to be on the bus to Mile High to watch CU and Texas A&M on Saturday, you can have some of those Breck brews before you get going as well. So make sure you check all that out. Of course, the other thing that they've got going on this summer is their partnership with the National Parks Conservation Association to give 1% of all of their profits this summer to the National Parks Conservation Association to help the great outdoors. What spurred them, of course, were the fires in Colorado last year. So they want to help out. So know that if you have even one of those delicious Breck brews, whether you buy one at a bar or a restaurant or go down to the grocery store, pick up a 15-pack, you know what? You're going to be helping the outdoors. So make sure you check out our friends over at Breckenridge Brewery, and also check out the Farmhouse, which is down at their brewery facility in Littleton. It's right off Santa Fe. Call 303-803-1380 from noon to 8 p.m. and use that code DNVR to save $5 off for your meal. If you want to take it out, they'll bring it right to your car. They will even give you beer. You can add beer onto your food order as well over at the Farmhouse down in Littleton. So check that out. It's right off Santa Fe. And if you just want to take out rather than eat in, 303-803-1380 from noon to 8 p.m. to pick up your order and use that code DNVR to save $5 off your order. Breckenridge Brewery, the official beer of DNVR.
I like how we just talked about football for 40 minutes straight, and we've got someone complaining about 1 minute of ads. Also,
never read the comments.
I was just going to say, this isn't even an ad. This is just, there's no better place to be this weekend than the DNVR bar. You got Broncos game on Sunday. And then tomorrow, guys, what a setup we have. Bar opens at 10 on both Saturday and Sunday. Not just this week, but every day in football season. But tomorrow, bar opens at 10. Get there at 10. Get some Breck brews. Get some member beers, because you're a member. You get 6 ounces of free beer with that 22-ounce beer for the price of a 16-ounce beer. And then the bus leaves at 11 a.m. to take you down to Empower Field and Mile High to watch CU play top-rated Texas A&M. You have so much fun there. You can have as many drinks as you want. Watch CU probably get killed, as Von Miller said. And then you come back to hang out with everyone, drink everything away, and the bus brings you right back. Guys, you don't have to pay for parking. You get to drink as much as you want. It's a win-win, so make sure to sign up right now. And then, guys, also hang around for the CSU game, because they also play an SEC team tomorrow. CU, big underdogs to Texas A&M. CSU, a favorite against Vanderbilt. So Vanderbilt must be very, very bad for that to happen. But, I mean, what a place to be tomorrow.
They lost to a team. They lost to a team at home in a blowout, far worse than the one that CSU lost to. I mean, South Dakota State at least is a top shelf FCS team. That is not the case for the East Tennessee Buccaneers. That's why, Vanderbilt's an SEC team in name only right now.
I was going to say, I take issue with you saying they're also playing an SEC team. Not true. And I also take issue with you saying that the Buffs are going to get killed. I'm the only one who's allowed to say that.
Hey, Von Miller said it yesterday, so why don't you have issue with him?
I do have issues with Von.
Say it to his face.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
But anyways, guys, let's jump back into our 45th minute of football talk on this 44th minute of the podcast. And guys, let's break down how the AFC West is going to break down and just where the Broncos fit in. Do they make the playoffs? Kale here already has the Chiefs as the number 1 seed in my standings, and I guess that's a little bit of not really a spoiler alert, but yeah, guys, I don't think the Chiefs are going to be playing for anything come week 18, because I think they are going to blow by the NFL this season. I am scared for any team that has to play them. I think the loss in the Super Bowl was great for Broncos fans in the short term. I think it's really bad for the NFL this year. I think the Chiefs are going to steamroll. I think they're going to be at least 15-2, guys. I wouldn't be surprised to see 16-1 from them. So I'll go 15-2. They're the number 1 seed in the AFC West and in the AFC.
There are two variables, of course, with the Chiefs. One, of course, is injuries. Everyone has that. The other is how long it takes this basically reconfigured offensive line to come together. And that was the big takeaway for the Chiefs from the Super Bowl in particular, was that they were exposed in terms of a lack of depth, lack of quality on the offensive line. They went up against a great pass rush like the one Tampa Bay has, and we basically saw Pat Mahomes get pulverized really for the first time in his career to date. So I think if the O-line takes a little while to come together, maybe they have a loss or two in the first couple of months that we're not expecting. But this is still a really great team, guys. I think they'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'm not nearly as high on their prospects this season as Zach. I have them going 13-4 and still winning the division very comfortably.
Yeah, but I do think at 13-4, Ryan, then you are talking about they're playing for something. So that makes sense why the Broncos would lose in that 18th game or in that 18th week. And for the second seed, guys, I think it's going to be the Chargers. I think this is a team where they have the quarterback, and I mean, Ryan just said it enough. They have the quarterback. I also love some of the talent that they have on defense. I think this is going to be a breakout year for the Chargers, and it's hard to say that things are going to go right for the Chargers because I'm still waiting for something to happen, right, guys? But they're going to have the quarterback, and as long as Justin Herbert stays up, I think this team is a dangerous 12-5 team.
Wow.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's pizza bet.
Yeah.
Calling pizza bet.
Well, what do you want to bet here? Playoffs for the Chargers?
So I've got them winning 10 games.
Okay.
You've got them winning 12 games. Let's just set the number at 11. So anything over 11 you win, anything under 11 I win. If it's 11, we'll call it a push.
Yep,
Yeah.
I like that because not my floor, but I was really deciding on whether they go 11 wins or 12. So as long as 11's a push, you're on.
All right,
Yeah,
sounds good.
I've got them 10-7 as well, but that means they're tied with the Broncos for me. I'm going to say the Broncos maybe win that tiebreaker. I'm not really sure why, because I haven't gone through the details and figured out if they're both 10-7 who wins the tiebreaker, especially if they split the series. But the thing with the Chargers, I mean, they open Washington, then Dallas, Kansas City, Raiders, Cleveland, Baltimore. I think their record may look pedestrian well into October, but then you see them getting in November and December, and that's where I think they stack up some wins and catch up if they have a slow start.
So Mace has the Broncos as the second seed in the second seed in the AFC West.
I have them as the number. Yeah, I have them second. The Chargers and Broncos both 10-7. So
how about that? That? I love it. And then I have the Broncos coming in at third with their 9-8 record. I think it's going to take 10 wins in order to make the playoffs. But the Broncos accomplished their goal, guys. We've heard it all off season. George Payton says what we need to do for it to be a successful season is be competitive in November and December. They're going to be competitive well into December, into January as well. So it's a successful season for the Broncos, and Vic Fangio is back because he flips things completely around. So I'm going Broncos. It's a successful season, just missed the playoffs.
So what did you have the Broncos record at? 9-8.
9-8. Yep.
Yeah. I've got them at 8-9, and I've got the same position here in third in the division.
And then finally, guys, the Raiders are the seller of the division. There's going to be a lot of questions about John Gruden's future, whether he's going back to the Monday Night Crew. Maybe Peyton Manning, John Gruden take over the booth there next year. But Raiders, guys, they're going to be a losing team. With Derek Carr, they're not going to be abysmal, which is a great place for the Broncos to have the Raiders because they're not going to have a top pick. They're going to be 7-10, let's say.
Yeah, I've got them at 7-10 as well, and I've got them losing their last 5 games at the end of the season. At Kansas City, at Cleveland, Denver at home, at Indianapolis, and then I think the Chargers beat them in Vegas. The Chargers win that game, get themselves into the playoffs, and the Raiders are sitting there. They've already eliminated by then, finishing 7-10. and what's going to be the mood in Raiders headquarters if they close the season on a 5-game losing streak that knocks them from playoff position to out of the money. Wow, it's going to be ugly out there if that's how it goes.
Mark Davis is going to have to decide if he should fire John Gruden and pay him like $60 million, or if he should put it into another interesting looking house somewhere in Vegas.
Didn't John Gruden said he wouldn't take that money if he gets fired?
Yeah.
Isn't that noble?
He did say that. Do you think he put that in the contract though?
He didn't, but yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, gosh, that was such a bad idea from the beginning. I don't know how they didn't see that coming. The craziest part is you hire, the guy who really got his reputation as a QB guru during this time, and then you haven't tried anything new at quarterback. Like you just keep rolling out Derek Carr, who's like a 15th pick. You're just playing for the 15th pick every year when you start the season. I don't understand it. Obviously, he is good. He's not great, and they haven't put a good team around him, so you just keep getting bad. Like the strategy out there is mind-boggling.
I'm going to say that.
Yeah. How many coaches would have their job if they went 9 seasons without winning a playoff game? Because that's where John Gruden is right now. The last 6 years in Tampa Bay, a couple of playoff appearances, didn't win a game, were one and done, and then they haven't had a winning season in Oakland/Vegas. So if they do that again this year, that's 10 straight seasons for John Gruden without winning a playoff game, and 2 of them being crazy. One and done. Oh,
just crazy. And Ryan, because of what you said, I don't think John Gruden's out after this year. I think this is the year that they go and find a quarterback, whether it's a trade, whether it's a quarterback in the draft. And you roll your eyes because, yeah, I'm rolling my eyes too. I'm just going to keep guessing it until they do. It's like people that think Tom Brady is going to finally have his decline year. They've been saying that for like 7 years now. I'm totally off that bandwagon. I think he's going to play forever, and that's just going to really stink for everyone.
Dude, he looked better last night than he looked at any point in the regular season last season. I don't understand.
Well, down the stretch, he was looking good. I mean, it was against a bad team, but like the Detroit game toward the end, he was carving him up. But it was like after that Rams game last year, they lost. I feel like that whole team and the cohesion of that offense turned a corner, and we've just seen them on point since then. I mean, that being said, they made some mistakes. If you risk it, you're going to lose the biscuit from time to time, and the Bucs almost did. So they're going to lose a game here or there, guys, when they make a mistake, but it wasn't last night. But I'm sorry to all the Tom Brady haters, and I know I used to be one of them, but he wears the laundry I like now, so I admitted that I like him. I'm rooting for laundry. I don't care.
And guys, I mean, that's just a perfect segue to our final picks. I think we're going to be seeing the exact same Super Bowl this year. I know it's not a sexy thing to pick, but look at the Bucs. There's no reason why I would pick against them, especially come playoff time. They're not going to be playing on the road. They're going to be playing in Tampa Bay throughout the entire postseason. Aaron Rodgers is probably going to have to go in there, and we know what happens when Aaron Rodgers plays late January. He loses. Tom Brady's the GOAT at those games. So it's going to be the Bucs, and unfortunately, I just think the Chiefs are going to steamroll their way to the Super Bowl this year. 2 wins, maybe, or 2 losses. Maybe that's all they have this year.
Who do you have as your second biggest contender in the AFC?
Everyone wants to say the Bills, and there's just a little bit to me that I'm just not fully sold on them. So, I mean, Cleveland, they're supposed to be it. Those 2 teams are just like are really good, but I just see a huge gap between them and the Chiefs.
The reason why I like Cleveland as the one who challenges as opposed to Buffalo is I feel like, and this is just kind of a little thing, but the vaccine discord on Buffalo, I think, is one of those. You're trying to think, okay, what separates teams? You have an issue in Buffalo that Cleveland doesn't have. And the issue in Buffalo could cost them key players for a game or two. So that's why I look at the two of them and I think Cleveland just seems, it's weird to say this about the Browns. Cleveland seems a little more settled, a little doesn't have that chaos. I think it's Cleveland and Kansas City in the AFC Championship game. And I think it looks a lot like the game they played back in January in the divisional round. A very tough game, but a Cleveland loss.
Well, then what a game to have this weekend. And Ryan, I just have to jump in really quick. And I mean, you just keep shaking your head during this. I don't know if it's because you think there's no second contender in the AFC or if we're getting this all wrong.
You guys answered my question in spades. I'm glad I teed it up there. That's the problem. Like, I want to be able to say the Chiefs aren't going back to the Super Bowl. There's no one there. There's no one out there. I think there's going to be some team that surprises everyone and is a lot better than we think in the AFC. Maybe it's the Broncos.
Better not be the Chargers.
I don't think it's the Chargers.
It might be the Chargers long term, though, especially if Brandon Staley does good work on the defensive side like he did with the Rams last year. So if you have Justin Herbert taking the next step, plus a defense playing well for the Chargers, that actually gives them the equation you need to win in January. And so, yeah, if they're surging at the end and they get in the playoffs, then they could cause a lot of problems. They have the equation that works.
Yeah, and so I just keep going. Maybe it's Baltimore who finally pays off this, thing that we've been building up, but they've got the injury bug biting them hard. So that feels hard to believe. It's just I keep looking around and I'm like, does the AFC suck? Like, like that's how I feel right now. So I have the Chiefs in there, and then Zach's gonna hate this one. I've got the Packers, the last dance. That they've been building it up. I think this is the year they finally get back there. I don't know what happens. Maybe Brady gets like a food poisoning or something before the game, and he's a shell of himself, and we finally see how weak he should be because he hasn't been able to keep down any fluids for hours. And the Packers finally get through him, and let's get through the NFC Championship game and get in there.
Ryan, I have a question for you.
When does Brady hit the wall? That's a question.
He never does. He never does. Never, ever. He's just going to retire on top one day, decide that like 10 rings is enough. But Ryan, my question for you is that bad news for the Broncos? I mean, you phrased it as the last dance, so I can't imagine. But if Aaron Rodgers gets to the Super Bowl, and I got to get your Super Bowl pick on top of this as well, I mean, if he wins a Super Bowl in Green Bay, is he really walking away?
No. I just mean the last dance in Green Bay for him and Devontae Adams.
But and I guess I should phrase it that way as
well.
well.
Walking away from Green Bay.
Right, Green Bay.
Yeah. Yes.
Are they winning the Super Bowl here? Are they beating the Chiefs? Because I could see if Green Bay wins the Super Bowl, I could see Aaron Rodgers walking away with an offer from Jeopardy in hand, and that's and that's it.
No, I don't see that either. I see them winning the Super Bowl and him going on to greener pastures.
So the Broncos literally potentially get an MVP quarterback 2 years ago, and then the reigning Super Bowl champ, Super Bowl MVP. They could bring him to Denver. Man, would that be something?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if he's coming here. I don't know what's gonna happen. But I just feel like a certain energy around the Packers right now that makes me I don't. My brain isn't necessarily feeling it as much, but there's something in my body that's saying
it's deep down
they're gonna win the Super Bowl this year.
And unfortunately, those are the same feelings that I have for the Chiefs, and that's why I think the Chiefs beat Tom Brady and the Bucks, and the game doesn't look like it did last year.
Bucks have never lost a Super Bowl before,
How about that?
2-0, baby.
They do it again, Mace?
Yeah.
Do they do it again?
Why not? Would you, at this point in time, in any sport, would you bet against the Tampa Bay team winning a championship?
In baseball, yes.
Maybe, but I wouldn't bet against them getting the World Series right now. Although Toronto, if we get in, it looks like they're looking pretty spry. But Yeah, this is Tampa Bay's moment in sports. I mean, I wouldn't bet against the Lightning. I wouldn't bet against Bucks go Lightning. So I'm
So Mason,
I'm total homer pick. I don't care. Tampa Bay over Kansas City in the Super Bowl. I'm happy again.
there we go. I love it. And I've loved this pod, guys. And we're not done with the pod. We're just done with the live section right now. We're going to jump into the podcast form to get to all of your questions. So hit us with a like if you're watching on YouTube. Subscribe. Turn on alerts. We really appreciate it. We'll be live right after the Broncos game. Hopefully they're 1-0 at that point. We'll be live on YouTube. So make sure to turn on alerts so you know right when we go live. But guys, let's hop into the podcast side. You can find us anywhere that podcasts are. Just search for Broncos. We'll be the first one that pops up. All right, guys, let's get into some questions.